Now, other interesting political news, you have Vivek Ramaswamy calling Nikki Haley the Kamala Harris of the GOP rather, getting over 2 million views on the X, or some people still call it the Twitter. And again, I'm not a doctor. However, if you click the subscribe button, it may help with my speaking ineptitudes and my stuttering. Again, there's no guarantees in life, but I'm just saying, can't hurt to give it a shot. Plus, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of December. So I greatly appreciate everyone who clicks that button, especially people who continue to tune into the show and leave comments to help me improve and give feedback to make it better and better. Now, ADHD aside, going back to the actual substance of this part of the show. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy, he did a tweet. It's actually up to 2.1 million views now, and he actually responded to Nikki Haley. Now, Nikki Haley, this is a quote or a tweet from 2020, and she said, quote, "We should all stand with hashtag Bubba Walsh today against the cowards who secretly put that noose in his garage stall. Watch your back, cowards. Bubba has a bigger army than you do. Hashtag hate won't win. Hashtag we stand with Bubba." Now, this is, at the time, a huge controversy. Also shows the ineptitudes of the U.S. government, how much time they have to waste on crap. Because they actually sent the FBI, government entities, to investigate this. And at the end of the day, it wasn't a noose. It was just a pull string on a garage door. So an example of people seeing racism when there isn't actually racism. And Nikki Haley said that in 2020. And Vivek responded to that today, or a little while ago. Sorry, a couple days ago. And he said Kamala Harris is the Kamala Harris of the GOP. Again, that got 2.1 million views and 34,000 likes. Now, I'm not one to defend Nikki Haley. I don't agree with many of her policies and her political ideals. But, I mean, no one's more mentally vacuous than Kamala Harris. Now, I don't know if you could say Nikki Haley is the Kamala Harris of the GOP party. I'm trying to think of the landscape in the GOP. Is there anyone more inept than Nikki Haley? Perhaps that is a greater conversation to be had. I mean, Chris Christie's up there. He just, every time he talks, every time he opens his mouth, well, he does that a lot, but usually for consumption. But every time he opens his mouth, he just is all about hating on Trump. Which, again, I'm still waiting to hear some original good ideas from Chris Christie. I don't know if there are any. But, yeah, maybe that's comparable. What about, who do you think? Who do you actually think is the Kamala Harris of the GOP? That might be a fun poll to do on the Twitter sphere. Now, going to the comments section, someone by the name of Right Angle News Network says, quote, "Whoever you decide to vote for in this upcoming election, whatever you do, do not vote for Hillary Clinton rebranded and painted red. It is so clear Nikki Haley is not a true Republican. Neither is Chris Christie. They are both secretly Democrats. Follow us. If you agree, they need to be booted off the stage." Unquote. And that, again, comes from Right Angle News Network, which, A+ for marketing. Their logo is a right angle. That's just on point. That got 495 likes and 39,000 views. Mark Gidman replied saying, "For the non-NASCAR fans, it wasn't a noose. It was just a loop at the end of the garage door pull-down rope. Was tied the same way a bunch of other garage doors were as well." Unquote. That got 188 likes, a couple thousand views. Benjamin Way says, quote, "She freaks me out. Same vibes Hillary Clinton gives me. She must be one of hers to be TBH, to be sure. TBH. I forget what the youth uses these days in regard to acronyms. I'll have to examine perhaps Urban Dictionary later. Now, that did get 267 likes. Just a Dude says, quote, "Neocon Nikki never met a military lobbyist she didn't like," unquote. She got 219 likes, or rather, it was Just a Dude, so he got 219 likes. Marjorie Taylor Greene Press parody account replied, quote, "I can't even stand looking at her smug face," unquote. And that got 188 likes. Base Latinos says, quote, "Probably the meanest thing Vivek has ever said about Nikki Haley," unquote. That got 15 likes. Crocs Out replied, "Odd how this story got so much traction. It was a door pull," unquote. I got 13 likes. And yes, it was a huge phenomenon in the United States from a cultural perspective. Everyone was tuning in on that story. NASCAR actually rewrote some of the rules. They actually banned, I believe, it was the traditional, or technically it wasn't the actual Confederate flag, it's the Dixie flag everyone thinks is the Confederate flag. The actual Confederate flag is the one people think about. But nevertheless, the NASCAR, I believe, banned that flag from being displayed when the story broke. And of course, when the story was found to be false, NASCAR didn't change their policies. as NASCAR is trying to, excuse me, they've been trying to reach even more customers throughout the years because their old demographics, similar to Cadillac, were passing away. So they've been trying to branch out and reach more customers, which by their actions, they're also alienating some. So they have a little bit of a marketing issue at NASCAR as they try to grow the company customer base without alienating too much. So they never actually went back and said, okay, you can have that flag again. We're not banning it, even though the story was fake. Now, someone by the name of Vince Langman says, quote, hook, line, and sinker, unquote, getting 56 likes. Let's see here. Gracie Smith says, quote, LOL, very true, Vivek. Nikki cherishes war too. Blood money in exchange for human lives, unquote, getting 41 likes. Golden Memes, although not an A+ for marketing, they didn't even respond in a meme, or some might call it in the May. They just responded in text. But nevertheless, this alleged account by the name of Golden Memes says, quote, I'm sorry, but it's tough to beat Kamala, unquote, getting 18 likes. Thermonuclear MAGA replies, quote, Nikki Haley will never be president ever, unquote, getting 22 likes. Now, that being said, she's getting more funding than any other candidate. A lot of the original donors that were giving very heavily to Ron DeSantis, the past couple weeks, they've shifted their donations to Nikki Haley. So she's getting more and more resources. And actually, let's pull up let's pull up the 538 poll aggregator. Again, this is from projects.538.com. It is a poll aggregator of a bunch of the polls for the Republican nominee. It looks like Trump is down a little bit. Trump is at 61.6%. DeSantis went up by about, 0.3%. DeSantis is back up at 12.5%. Nikki Haley went down a little bit. She's at 10.7%. Vivek Ramaswamy is at 4.3%. Christie expanded a little bit. He's now at 3.1%, up from 3%. Asa Hutchinson is still in the race at 0.6%. So it looks like she's gone down a little bit. A couple weeks ago, she was more around 11 and 12. I don't think she actually went. It looks like she did peak around 11.3%. So in individual polls, she was passing DeSantis, but not in the poll aggregators. And as you continue to scroll through, excuse me again, apologies. Vivek Peters Willie says, quote, I think she has a bit of Nancy Pelosi in her too. The look in her eyes and something on her face, unquote, getting 39 likes. And this is perhaps one of the most popular things Vivek has ever posted. CP Smith simply replied with a picture of Nikki Haley. It was when Vivek on the debate stage said she can't even name. I think he said she can't even name 4 or 5 provinces in the Ukraine where she wants to send soldiers, and she awkwardly just went almost like she was thinking but not really thinking. A picture of her just pretending to think. That got 61 likes. One of the most popular responses. A hilarious picture coming from Kenny is a meme of the 3 knights around the 3 gentlemen with swords around their knights around the table, and the 3 knights are named DeSantis supporters, Trump supporters, Vivek supporters, and they all are holding their swords in the middle of the table, and the table in the middle says Nikki Haley sucks. That got 183 likes. And as you continue to scroll, it looks like, perhaps one of the best ones. This comes from Marcus. You have Steven Crowder sitting at the iconic table where he has to change your mind. It's the iconic thing where they Photoshop the actual verbiage on the poster, and the poster has been changed to Nikki Haley is the Republican version of Kamala Harris. Changed my mind. That got 35 likes. So again, as youth might say, Vivek went viral to say the least. Now, the issue is, when is this going to start translating to the polls? Because again, we're looking at the poll aggregators, which again, most of these polls are between a couple hundred and maybe 3 at the top, maybe 4,000 people being polled. And the past couple weeks, he has not been increasing in the polls. It looks like he peaked maybe around he peaked around 11%. For a while, he was, almost double. He was at 11.6%. At the same time, Nikki Haley was at 3.3%. And now they're darn near flipped. And I don't know, is that because, again, Nikki Haley's getting a lot more resources behind her? She's doing a lot more campaigning with commercials. Let me know in the comments, what do you think is the reason why Vivek is not increasing his lead? It looks like he's saying a lot of things that many people agree with. I think, truth be told, he has some good original ideas as well. But, excuse me, at the end of the day, when is it going to start increasing his lead in the polls? Right? Because right now he's not leading, and we're getting closer and closer to all these. The days are getting closer and closer. So it'll be interesting to see what actions he'll have to take and if it'll be possible for him to actually gain the lead and get ahead of Nikki Haley and a couple other folks. But as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of December, so if you could click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better as I attempt to increase my enunciation and slow down my pace of speech. And I know those are issues thanks to feedback left to me in the comments. So the more feedback, the better, and I appreciate it. Also, giving me a thumbs up is a great way to help the video be shared more on them YouTube analytics with all the fun algorithms trying to see how the video gets shared, so I appreciate that. Also, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.